Magandang buhay! Sa bahaging ito ng ating online course, ay ating tatalakayin ang diversity in crop production. Ano ba ang diversity? Bakit mahalaga ang diversity sa organic agriculture? Paano masasabi na diversified ang isang organikong sakahan? Ilan lamang yan sa mga tatalakayin ng probisyon ng ating pamantayan. Bilang panimula, ay tignan ang illustration na ito na nagpapakita ng halimbawa ng diversity in agriculture. Sa illustration ay ating makikita kung papaano na ang iba't ibang parte sa isang sakahan ay nagtatrabaho at bumubuo na isang tinatawag na relationship. Makikita natin na ang bawat parte ay nakakaepekto sa bawat isa, at hindi ito gumagana ng individual. Take note, diversity in agriculture should include practices including planting many crop varieties in a single field, incorporating trees, livestock, or aquaculture, rotating crops, planting hedgerows and riparian buffers, and conserving natural areas in the landscapes around the farm. By supporting a rich fabric of habitats and species from plot to field to landscape scale, diversity allows critical ecosystem services, from pollination and pest control to nutrient cycling, to be generated and regenerated within the ecosystem, forming the basis for sustainability. Ngayon na alam na natin ang basic concept ng diversity, atin ang alamin kung paano ito ina-apply sa ating pamantayan. Simulan natin sa 4.8.1. The diversity of crops and cropping systems on organic farms should sustain and promote diversity suited to the local agro-ecosystem. Crop diversification systems should be used such as crop rotation, intercropping, alley cropping, relay cropping, and multi-story cropping. Kaya para sa mga inspectors, kasama sa dapat tignan sa panahon ng inspection ay kung napopromote ba ang diversity sa pamamagitan ng pagkakaroon ng mga nabanggit na practices. Dapat tignan kung ang magsasaka ay nagsasagawa ng crop rotations, at dapat ito ay may verify sa pamamagitan ng pagpapakita ng magsasaka ng kanyang organic management plan, o anumang available documentation. 4.8.2 Organic management shall only engage in actions that do not create any negative impacts in officially recognized high conservation value and heritage areas such as forests, wildlife protection areas and watershed areas. 4.8.3 Organic management should maintain and/or enhance biodiversity on the farm holding the crop and where applicable, in non-crop habitats. 4.8.4 Organic crop production should include diversification as an integral part of the farm management system. For perennial crops, this includes the use of plant-based ground cover. For annual crops, this includes the use of crop rotation practices, cover crops, green manures, integrated crop management, intercropping, or other diverse plant production with comparable achievement. Organic crop production systems should produce terrestrial crops in soil-based systems. At dito natatapos ang ating talakayan tungkol sa diversity in crop production. Para sa karagdagang kaalaman, ating tunghayan ang kasunod na video tungkol sa biodiversity in agriculture.
Nature to me is actually this. It's agriculture next to a forest and a hedge. And this diversity that brings joy, and that there's something to see. I do like forest, but also agriculture. This is food, and we will eat this. I go here and I know that in autumn I will be able to eat this cereal, and I can taste it. And what you eat, is part of yourself. It gives your identity. Biodiversity for me means relationships. So it can be very tiny by having different species, but it's also to having different ecotypes. And that what you see here, different ecosystems next to each other. And those relations between those two, that's for me biodiversity. So you can have different varieties of a crop within a field, you can have different crops, and then the whole relation between in it. That is biodiversity. The biggest threats to biodiversity loss in agriculture are large fields and very few species. So the moment we can turn that to a smaller area and more species, I think we can still bend the curve. It's still possible. Nature is resilient. The solution is that we reduce the areas, for example, by strip cropping, smaller areas, and use more different species in our cropping system. So to produce more different plants, that means that we also have to eat differently. If we only eat very limited amount of crops, then farmers won't grow many different crops. What for me important is that we show that another agriculture is possible. We do this by teaching farmers, by having a lot of courses, and we teach by doing. So we go to a farm like this and we show it is possible to have an income and biodiversity. Many farmers want to diversify, but they say nobody wants to buy it because there's no demand. And that's, I think, a crucial task for society, but also for industry, that they are able to deal with diversity. Biodiversity needs diversity. So let ecology thrive and adapt technology to it rather than the other way around. And I think there's a really nice challenge for us to work as Wageningen to do that together, because you cannot be diverse alone. Agriculture is possible without biodiversity, but not something that I would like to live in, that kind of world. If we include it, then we have a far better future rather than a dystopia.